sew up my pro.
Asshole hole there. Hey. Oh, good one. Oh, good call for the cheeks and all.
Frank Geers.
So we changed OCC to change the name of the board.
What do you say, holeheads? Welcome to Taco Tuesday. Finn, the loudmouth for the ACO. Frank Geers, also known as Clark Kent, the Cornhole Dude. Cheers to you. You don't have to make the noise. Anyway, hey, you know what? We were talking a little bit earlier about it's a bag, it's a board, it's a super major. It was a hell of a super major, which is why this logo was stolen from somewhere off the internet. Before we get sued, we'll probably take it off the screen. But what a time everybody had. Before we get into the good times.
Cheers to a great time.
Cheers to
a
that.
Great tournament in Owensboro. Owensboro.
And before we get into the good times, let's recap just something that happened this morning. I woke up to news of a tornado that ripped through Panama City Beach. Checked in. Ed Runyon, he's good. He had some damage to his house and some stuff up around where they were in the north, but a buddy of mine lives down there. He said it was awfully damn close. Sent me a video of some of the damage. It was down by the beach and some of the different areas, but apparently no one injured, no one killed. That's great news. We checked in with LT. She marked herself safe. I didn't realize she moved into the Panhandle.
Well, and this is new to me. Like, I didn't know that they really got tornadoes down there. I always thought it was hurricanes blowing through there, not tornadoes. I thought that was more of a Midwest thing. So.
Well, Mother Nature's been in a pretty bad mood this past year. So thankfully everybody's safe. So we just want to give you a heads up. Please check in as we did with Clarksville and Nashville and everywhere in Tennessee. As this stuff happens, we want to make sure that we keep an eye and an ear on you. And then I just heard Tammy Klinger sent me a note that said, what are you doing? And I guess the new winter storm, they're naming winter storms now. And the new winter storm is coming up through its winter storm Finn.
No, it is not.
Yeah, she said knock it off. So I promise I'll try to knock it off. But anyway, glad to hear from Ed and LT that everybody's good. If you're down in that area, please let us know. But yeah, we'll talk about the super major here in a minute. Don't forget, if you're watching like you did over the weekend, whether it be on YouTube or Facebook, if you're on YouTube, subscribe, hit the notification bell so that you're getting all of the updates on the new content. We got a lot of great stuff from the weekend that we're going to share, and we got a lot more little bits from our man Boogie as well. So we're going to be sharing those as shorts and so on and so forth. But you can also, when we did this, and this is a question in the comments, please feel free to add this to your comments. We expanded the YouTube channel, and we will continue to do so. Right. We decided to stream on both because we opened up the keys to do just that, especially since we had a CBC Center court as well, and it worked out great. Numbers were great on both. Do you have a preference? Is there one that's easier for you? And is there one that's easier for you, maybe, say, on your phone versus like LaBelle was at the bar and they had it up on the big screen? And you should be able to do that. You should be able to get it up on the big screen. Just bring the app up, boom, done, and that's how it works. Is there one way that you prefer? And if so, or if you use both, where do you prefer each one? We're just trying to make sure we streamline and get everything, the best access points for you to check it out. So a lot of folks were doing that. In fact, we were streamed again on the TV at the Par Inn in Cornwall. We made a little shout out to our folks in Cornwall, and they said that the place went nuts. So that's awesome. So anywhere and everywhere that you want to watch, you're able to do so. We want to know where your favorite place and how your favorite way to do that is. The push text, we just use something kind of weird with my stuff here. Anyway, the push text we used just to put out a reminder the other night for the early registration for Knoxville to make sure you got in there. A lot of folks did respond to having that link at your thumb. If you would like to be receiving updates about what's going on with the ACO right at your thumb tip, just make sure that you text ACO to 833-695-1318, 833-695-1318, and you will receive those text updates. And we'll try not to blow you up with them. It's just about stuff we think you really want to know about at the moment. Now, here's something else I'll tell you about those. When you get those, it says stop to end or whatever, or cancel. If you press stop, that doesn't mean you're going to stop getting that message. You're going to stop getting all messages. Right. You will unsubscribe. It should say stop to unsubscribe. Maybe that's what it says. But know that if you text stop, you're done getting messages. So you would have to retext ACO to that number, again, 833-695-1318. But just know that if you do that, you're not going to get anything else. So
but you can, like you said, if you accidentally do that, you can resubscribe.
Yeah, you can, and you should, because it is a great way to get everybody information very quickly and put links right there at your fingertips. What was I going to tell you about? That's what it was. We texted you the information about Knoxville. Instagram, TikTok. We don't do a lot on Instagram because, frankly, I hate it. But we'll figure it out. Somebody will figure it out. Max was doing it. Not Max. Charlie was doing it for a while. And he got like 8 squillion views for, he's brushing his mustache or something. And I don't know. But
it was something crazy.
It was something ridiculously dumb. And then we said, well, why don't you do something for ACO? And he's like, no. So anyway, we'll get to that eventually. Bag partners are obviously scrolling across the bottom of the screen, as they always are. The featured bags in front of us, starting with Frank and moving to me. These are pretty big.
Yeah, we got some good ones out here today.
OTT.
We got an OTT bag in the house.
I like this Cyclone Cornhole bags.
The Monsoon, man. We got the Monsoon there. The
816.
816 basement bags. Which one was this called?
That's the Mojo.
This is the Mojo.
And the reason we're doing that one again is because we have misidentified it as Moto at one point because the J looked like a T. So it's Mojo.
Oh, this is a nice one, though, too. This has a good... this is the Hibernators. Hibernators by Crazy
8. Yep, Crazy 8 Bag Company.
And the final one over here... He spent some time with us this weekend and didn't have space for him last week on the table, so that's our IMF bag there. So.
Yeah, we don't want to give anybody the short shrift there, but...
I think it's a new one, too, line of his, the GT46.
Yeah, and that means it's a 4.6 speed rating. I found that out, what that means. So Clinton and everybody that was down with IMF, and we had in Owensboro, IMF was there, TNT was there, Cornslinger Bag Company, the CBC boys were on a center court, and also in the tent, Big Daddy Cornhole was there, High Roller Bag Company, Miggy and the crew were down there from Miggy Boards. Brothers Bags were there, and Lucky's and Gusto as well. It was a party. It looked good at the convention center. And one of the cool things is we're still doing every day at noon, dropping the $60 deal for one of 2 sets. There are only 2 sets available every day for one of our bag partners on the Facebook page, noon Eastern, 9 Pacific. If you want one of those 2 sets of only 2 sets offered from a line of bags, get on there and snap them up as quickly as you can. $60.
$60. I mean, it really is a great deal.
It's a great deal.
I mean, you're easily saving 20-30% off the cost of these bags. But if you miss out on that opportunity, go to their website because they're selling all sorts of colors, all sorts of makes and models of these things. Most of our bag partners have anywhere between 4 to 8 lines minimum, series minimum. And there's some of these partners out there that have 11, 12, 15 series.
Yeah, and what we've added to this, too, is the new program that also rewards you for early registration for the majors. And this is a mystery bag program, which is cool because we have a mystery bag program on the website where for $30 plus shipping, you can just get any bag. We'll just grab a bag off and send you a package, and that's what you get. But for $30, they're going to be ACO certified, stamped, and approved. You can't beat that deal. And for early registration now for upcoming majors, and we did this for the first time in Owensboro, if you're one of the first 50 to get registered, you've got 2 shots to win a grab bag set of bags. If you're one of the first 100, you have 1 shot. Yep. So last weekend it was Charity Jackson and James Hill each had a chance to reach in and grab a set of bags. It was a mystery to them, which was pretty cool. And Coming up in Beloit, Anthony Russell from Missouri and Don Miller from Wisconsin. You guys are going to have a chance to reach in and grab a set of ACO stamped and approved bags absolutely free. So that's a great incentive for early registration.
No, it's a fun thing. And, it was cool because they had I think I had brought 15 different surprise packages they could pick from. So it wasn't like we just brought 2 and said, okay, you get this one, you get this one. No, like you said, it's the mystery grab bag. So they had the chance to grab what they wanted to grab.
It's funny. This is how things change over the course of your life. The whole idea for this kind of started churning. We're like, what are we going to call this? What are we going to call it? Well, grab bag made perfect sense. Let's flash back a few years ago when I was in college. We would go out to Ozzy's balcony in Oxford, Ohio, and the grab bag was a whole different ball game. It wasn't us, whatever. But it was reaching into a giant horse trough full of iced beers. You'd pay $3 or $2 or maybe $1, and you reached in, you got whatever you got. You'd pull out a beer, and that was the grab bag. But you could get a beer that normally sold for $1.50, or you could get one that sold for $7. Even back then, back in the 2020s when I was in school.
Well, this wasn't a grab bag. This was a grab 10. But I don't know if you remember, Finn, where you happened to hand over to me your grab 10 to grab an Advil.
Oh yeah. Well,
down in South Carolina there.
I think I have it.
At Columbia.
I think I have it with me
at the tin roof.
I have this thing.
Talking about your grab bags. Yeah. This was a grab bag.
Well, I offered them. We were sitting in the tin roof, and it was really loud. And you're not going to be able to see this, but it's my little Bob Ross Happy Little Mints tin. And I opened it up, and I offered it to him, and it was loud. He wasn't paying attention.
It was dark and loud.
And I handed him some, it was Advil, because it's filled with all sorts of old man drugs, like Prevacid and Advil and something, to unclog my nose and whatever. And I handed him what he thought was mints, and he's like, these are the worst mints ever. I'm like, well, those are Advil, dumbass. So he goes, I'm never doing that again. But we do play pharmaceutical roulette because there is one Ambien in here. So if you just reach in, you just be careful. But there is one Ambien. So anyway, that's a whole different kind of grab bag. But the mystery grab bag is available for AmericanCornhole.com. Early registration grab bag for a free set of bags is for early registration only. So make sure that if you're going to buy tickets for an upcoming major, do so early. If you're one of the first 50, you've got 2 chances. One of the first 100, you've at least got a chance. And you could win twice with those 2 chances. We're going to talk about Beloit this weekend, but we got to talk about this super major. Dude, this was unbelievable. I mean, it had the feel of the Worlds. It really did. We got in, spent an extra day in Owensboro, got to check out some different places up and down. It's a little different this time of year than it is in August or July with regard to getting out what you're picking and choosing to do. But what a great time. We got great feedback. We saw a lot of new faces. I got to meet for the first time our man Maverick. That was kind of cool. I know he was hanging out with you upstairs and with Whitney.
Magnum?
Magnum. I said Maverick. Jesus Christ. Magnum. I should have known.
You're a Top Gun type of guy.
I am. Well, there was the guy who goosed me, so that's why I thought it must be Maverick. But that was Magnum, and I should have known that too because that's typically the size beer we would drink back in the grab bag days. But met Magnum. Barry Cox, a guy that came up and he said, this is my first major. I started playing because of you guys. And he came over to tell us how much just this whole thing meant. And his wife was homesick. Otherwise, she would have been there. So Barry we were glad to have you there for the first time. And so many new faces. It was great. A lot of first-time majors. But also, we got to see Danny Rich. He rolled in, and we got to spend some time with him. Danny, again, a great opportunity for you to come and let the family wrap their arms around you. We were really glad to see you. And you got to be part of the family and the team that set everything up. And without this team, it never would have happened. I mean, Tammy and Junior Williams, as always. And Junior brought homemade fudge with him as well. Thanks, by the way. It's delicious. I melted some of it today in the microwave. This is terrible. I melted the peanut butter fudge over top of the chocolate chip banana bread that Mary Jones brought. And, oh, man, I'm surprised I made it here. But Mary and Randy and Brian Jones, Mia Ray, Jacob and Whitney Garner, Aaron and Tina Candler, Sean Priest, Jacob Whaley, Dwayne Hudson, Jay Boogie, Philip Barnett, Eric Heinerman, and, of course, the CBC guys. It was Dylan and Bill and Derek on the other center court. And then, of course, Chris
Yep.
Clark and April Clements. It
Whole
wouldn't
nation
have
was
happened.
out there doing
Whole
some
nation.
game challenges
Well,
like usual, man. A lot
exactly.
of fun.
And I was going to get to that here in a moment because we had a couple of moments during the game challenges that I wanted to get to. But Rich and Tracy, of course, setting up and ready to rock and roll. All good stuff. But how much fun was that? Skins, the $10,000 skins, awesome. We're going to get to the results in case you haven't already seen them. But that was a ton of fun to watch. Some great matches, and some big money was made by a handful of people, and we'll get to those in a minute. And the question is, before we get to the full-on results, we'll get to that in a moment, but we wrapped everything up with what was really a nice 30-minute experience, I think, on center court with our adaptive cornhole.
Yeah.
And it worked out. What you saw was the perfect implementation of what we hoped that would be.
It was. I mean, I'm looking so forward, Finn, to watching this evolve into what it's going to become. I mean, it's already there, right? It's already putting this competition out on the courts. That's a brand new competition to the world of cornhole and to the world of adaptive sports. And to put that team, those two teams out on center court, to have it was best 2 of 3, right?
Yeah.
I mean, and it was a serious competition that went back and forth. And if I'm not mistaken, correct me on this, but didn't the team number 1 come out and win it, only to lose it the next 2, I believe? It
was Matt Davis, and Tommy Worley was throwing with, I think, wasn't he throwing with Nelson
Nelson
Baker.
And Tommy were pitching together.
They were pitching together, and Wheels, Russell Love, was pitching with Matt Davis. And what's funny is Matt and Tommy were pitching against each other. They're typically doubles partners.
Right.
But Russell Wheels Love is wheelchair bound. He had an accident later in his life that made him wheelchair bound, but he came out, he said, I'm not giving up. And you'll see it if you go back and watch the match in the after interview. He tells the story about what happened to him. Guy's a competitor like I've never seen.
Right.
He's upstairs all day throwing 27 feet. We've set up adaptive right now for 23 feet based on the difference in the way that the foul lines are set up and different things, and
right.
and the torque and the arm angles and different things that it takes. But he's up there throwing 27 feet during the day, comes down, he's wheeling around, man. He's got burning off nervous energy. He was all nervous on center court. And of course, you guys all know Nelson. Nelson's always buzzing around, got a big smile on his face. It was. Nelson and Matt and Tommy came out won game 1, so we decided to do a best of 3. Well, then Wheels all of a sudden, he locked in, and it was Wheels and Matt Davis that came back and won the next 2 games. But it was so much fun, and with Tommy and Matt being able-bodied but sitting in the chairs, that's what we really want to see, because this is a way to open the game up to those who, say you're with somebody, maybe a husband or a wife,
right,
who's confined to a chair, a boyfriend, a girlfriend,
brother,
a friend,
sister. We saw brother, sister
sister
in Buffalo doing it. I mean, it's awesome because now everybody gets to play, but everybody's playing on an equal playing field, right?
So. And that's exactly what we'd hoped to see. So we'll watch as this develops. We'll keep you posted. Please take a moment to go back and watch how much fun everybody was having, and it takes some getting used to, especially for the able-bodied who were in the chairs. It took them a minute to get used to the difference in the way you have to pitch.
I didn't try pitching this weekend in Owensboro, but I tried it in Buffalo, and Finn, I don't know if you need to try it. It is hard to pitch from that chair, man. Well,
and the thing that a lot of them were talking about is you have to change your angle, and I think who was it? Was it, I think it was Matt. No, it was Matt. He, after the first game, realized he was too much of this angle, and he came in and tightened up straight to the board, and that changed everything for him. So, again, it's proof that this is a game of angles and launch angle and power and everything else, how much you're able to generate. But it was really exactly what we had hoped you would be able to see and they would be able to experience as far as part of it, and it was really a great experience. Before we get into the results, well, I'll ask this question afterward because I want you to have your questions in the comments, and there are a lot of comments that we'll get to. Sing, appreciate you, brother. Good to see you. Clinton Bilo, of course, from IMF. What's up, brother? Alan Massey had a good time. I saw he was there. for the full weekend. Ed Runyon, good to see you, my brother, and God bless. Glad you're safe there. Dwayne Hudson, thanks again for all the help. Patrick Barger, I've got full signal and it keeps buffering. I think you might want to go get some of that stuff that you burn to exorcise the demons, because you've had a hell of a last week, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, hang tight. It's working just fine on this end. Teresa Robinson, good to have you along for the ride. Aaron Lambert, just happy to make it into the top 16 in the skins game out of 97 throwers. I think we had 100 in qualifying for the skins game. Nerve-wracking being one of the first throwers in a qualifier, watching scores for everybody else. That was fun to watch the pros watching the skins game.
Yeah, with the ticker board and knowing what the cut line was, and knowing that you're in frame 7 and already probably not making the cut. I mean, it's brutal, man. The pressure on players is insane.
Well,
so my question to pro players is going to be, do you want to be one of the first guys out the gate to set the bar, or do you want to be one of those guys that's coming in towards the end and closing it, man?
Well, it's interesting.
You know the number you got to beat.
The frame games were going on while we were doing doubles. So obviously Philip, who's a pro, was sitting with me. He couldn't go throw his frame game. The Hertz couldn't throw their frame game. And Tyler and Craig were playing the Hertz. So they all got to go later, and they were all kind of standing and watching. And ultimately, Philip ended up not making the top 16. Craig Irvin, not in the top 16. Tyler, not in the top 16. Both the Hertz did. But Caleb, he was kind of mid-range, mid-seed. So that maybe answers your question a little bit, waiting to see what you're pitching against. But the bottom line is that top 16, I think everybody had a great time watching. The numbers on the streams were huge. And we'll get to the general results right now. And so congratulations we'll just start with Isaac Hurt for winning the Pro Series skins. He took over $2,000 home just for that 90 minutes worth of work.
And he got to play for free.
Yes, he did.
Let's make sure
your entry into this tournament is free.
100 pro players get to play for free. This is something that that we give back to our players. We give back to our pros, and these guys get to sign up and play for free.
Yeah, you're not buying in and then taking a percentage. You're getting in for nothing and taking everything. It's sort of like the movie 300.
I mean, and the pressure, dude. I mean, really. Each one of these, so this was slightly larger than the other Pro Series, right?
Yeah.
We had $10,000 on the line that we gave away.
Double.
So each one of those Pro Series matches, Finn, was worth $650.
$50, yeah.
$50 a skin. And I don't know, I think there was one or two guys that actually swept and won a game, won all 13 skins and all $650.
Gary Bearpaw in his second game did that. Tony Pena in his second game, he did that. The highest other scores were 11, because again, if you're the first to 7, you claim all the unclaimed skins, and you add that to your total.
Now, do you have records showing you if anybody ended up winning $350, where the loser got $300, where it went 7 to 6 in the skins?
The closest one, it's hard to say. I had those individual tallies in some matches, but I'm looking right now at the overall tally. But think about it. Isaac Hurt took $2,050. Doug Parker took $1,650. Tony Pena ended up with $1,300. I mean, everybody walked away with something.
Right.
Austin Douglas, $550. Gary Bearpaw, even in a losing effort, took home $1,300. Okay. He made it through 3 rounds, and he made it $1,300. Chase Puckett made it through 1 round, but still grabbed a couple $100. The lowest number on there was T.J. Miller. Caleb Hurt took him down 11, or I'm not exactly sure how many he had there, but he took $50. He won at least one.
He won one skin.
Right.
He won one
but,
skin.
I mean, Charlie Case took $550. Zach Mitchell, $100. Austin Thompson, $650. Bob Heil, $150. So that it's amazing to get to that top 16. And as long as you can grab a couple and push a couple, how much fun is that? Because you're taking some cash home no matter what. So congratulations, Isaac Hurt. A big weekend for him, and you'll see why here in just a moment. Our bag maker quads, congratulations to Team Arcane. They ended up taking first place in the bag maker quads. In the big blind draw, we had 2 huge big blind draws. Henry Thacker and Craig Irvin took the first one, and I believe Brock Beasley and Travis Jordan took the second one. They were going on all throughout the day on both days, but those were the two biggest ones. So congratulations to them. We'll start with our final winners, our last of our weekend warriors, as everything's being pared down to the final center court match. How about co-ed doubles? And you're going to have a chance to get revenge on them this weekend in Beloit. Maggie Geiger and Wayne Rao. I mean, they ground it out.
Now,
there were some
I didn't
huge
get a chance
teams.
to watch that much because we're in the process of prepping to get on to the next one and getting torn down. But I know there was a ton of people still around checking that out. Tell me about that match. I mean, how did it go?
Well, there were just huge teams. I mean, I was looking around and it was Chittenden and his partner were still there. The Irvins were still hanging in there. I mean, there were some huge teams at the end. But when all was said and done, Maggie and Wayne, congratulations,
awesome.
co-ed champs, well done. In juniors, Devin Thompson ended up double dipping Brock Beasley to take juniors. Seniors, Mark Smothers, like a hot knife through butter. His return to the ACO has been nothing but spectacular, and he loves it in the bluegrass. So congratulations to Mark Smothers. He and I played a handicap game against one another, and we recorded it, so we're going to cut this down to show you exactly how the handicapping system works that we talked about so much last week, and it was a lot of fun, and I ended up winning that game.
I was going to say, that was kind of a special game, Finn. I mean, some things happened in that game that were pretty exciting. Number one, Smothers went 27 in a row. 27 in a row.
And I was still living to fight another frame, even with him doing that. It would have been over in 3 frames had we not applied a 5-point per frame handicap to me.
Yeah.
And he was a great sport. I told him we were playing for a seniors trophy, and he said, "No, we are not." I think that's what he said. But what a great time. Smothers, congratulations.
What'd the final score end up being? 21-16 or 17?
Yeah, I think something like that. But
you won. Hey, let's do this.
I had a blast. And it made it fun for me. And he gave me some tips on how to throw better while we were doing it. And after he gave me those tips, he goes, "I got to quit giving you tips." That's what's so fun about being able to play and be competitive and play a longer game against somebody so much better than you, is you'll learn and you will get better. So that's, again, I made my case for that last week, yada, yada, yada. Martina Belt double-dipped Amber Fretwell to take the women's championship, and she was throwing gas on the fire. She was blowing it up on Thursday. Congratulations, Martina Belt, or as Philip called her, Martina McBelt at one point, because he would confuse Martina McBride and Martina Belt. So she became Martina McBelt for 1 or 2 rounds. But anyway, congratulations. In doubles, till somebody beats him, he's going to keep picking them, and it turned out to be a good pick. Caleb and Isaac Hurt take down doubles. And then in singles, how about Isaac? Takes down the entire field of 450 singles entries. And this leads to my question, and I want you to put your answer in the comments, whether you're watching YouTube or Facebook. Who's going to beat Isaac? Who can beat him? He has been on fire through this whole season, and he was having a tough time with his transition to the new bags, but he has found a spot with these Gusto bags that he's throwing, and he is lights out. It's unbelievable. He just hits a second gear in that doubles match. He hit a second and a third gear in that doubles match, and those guys took doubles, did Caleb and Isaac. And in singles, he just burned through, I think, bracket D, and he put on a clinic. It was really, really something to watch. So who's going to beat Isaac?
DJ's over here telling me Gary Bearpaw is going to beat him, but Gary was there this weekend.
You know what we also saw Gary doing? You weren't there. You didn't see this.
What happened?
He threw a couple roll bags.
Ooh, Gary's working on his roll bag. Are you kidding me?
If Gary Bearpaw gets a roll bag together, nobody's going to beat him, because he is a machine. But we watched it, and it might have been in just down and backs, but he tried it a couple times, a cut bag and a roll bag in competition.
These were shots he was trying to execute, right?
Yes, he was. And we'll talk about that maybe in next week's episode too. The compacting of the talent and why it's happening in cornhole and specifically in the ACO. Over the last 4 or 5 years, I've noticed something very interesting. Philip and I talked about it a little bit, but we'll get into it more next week. Who is going to be... Yeah, Gary was in Isaac's bracket. That's right, Russell. And he got through him. Ask Isaac. He'll tell you who's going to beat him. Nobody. And then Isaac takes singles. So what a weekend he had. He walked, I think, did they have to go rent a truck to take his prize money home? And Caleb
I think
did
they had security going with them too
as well. But congratulations to everybody. I mean, so many new faces and new names, and we saw some fun stuff on center court, some guys we had never heard of. And I love, the best thing I love about Philip is I go, I don't know anything about these guys. And when they roll up on center, goes, I've never heard of them. And normally in a sporting broadcast, you'd be listening and going, what? You didn't do any prep work? It's impossible to prep. And it's so much fun. There were a couple of guys that came out of Keith Blair's region there in Louisville that came in and played doubles. They were throwing great. We had never heard of either one of them, but it was so much fun for us to watch because we got to see something different. So hopefully you enjoyed that as well. The survey for Owensboro is still out there, so make sure you send that back. You got a chance to win some free entries to an upcoming major. And now we are working our way towards Beloit. And Beloit is this weekend. There's a lot of great stuff surrounding this. It's sold out, which is cool.
This is like the fourth year in a row now that that's sold out. So we're pretty excited about it. Just so you know, Finn, in the future, there's some bigger things happening there where we will be able to accommodate more players.
In Beloit, really?
In Beloit, yeah. There's
outstanding.
Working on a new casino resort for us out there one of these days.
Thank God they're finally building the casino resort we've been telling them to build. That's awesome. I love it.
It's a great event, man. Every year, it's one of the more fun events.
Yeah.
I mean, there's great ones like the Owensboro, Knoxville coming up, Medford, Oregon, Bentonville, Arkansas. But man, Beloit is there's something special about it. It's going to be 9 degrees out there. So
yeah. So stay inside.
So we're going to be inside pitching cornhole this weekend.
So and it's funny, more and more every season too. And you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I know I'm not. There are more and more cities now that once you've been, you look ahead and you circle that on your upcoming calendar. I'm going back. I'm going back. I'm going back. And then all of a sudden you're like, I'm spending my entire life going out and doing that. But it's every single one of these places has something different to offer. It's not like going to a football stadium and they're all pretty much the same on the inside.
Right.
You know what I mean? Every place has its own personality and its own character. So I'm glad we're finding places like that. And one of those places is Knoxville, Tennessee, which is coming up here in a couple of weeks. Many of you took advantage of early registration. Don't forget, final registration wraps up this Sunday. So get in there and get your spot under the giant World's Fair ball there and get ready to compete. It's always a dogfight in Knoxville. Clarksville, Tennessee is another big one. The CBC boys are going to be down there running point. We got multiple welcome bashes that we'll tell you about planned for that, so you can kind of pick. You might hit a couple of them. Right. Who knows? So we'll have that for Clarksville. I know Miggy and those guys are excited to have everybody come into Clarksville. They kind of got the ball rolling, or the bag pitching, if you will, in Clarksville. It's Fergie's hometown, or where he currently resides, I should say. So Clarksville is going to be a big one. And then it's off to Dalton, Georgia for the next Pro Series. That'll be our 4th of 5 Pro Series, the carpet capital of the world. And our first trip to Dalton, Georgia. We'll have a cool welcome bash there as well. We'll tell you more about that at the Dalton Convention Center. Then, as you mentioned, Bentonville and Tulsa follow very closely. Craig Callahar says, get your TNT bags in Knoxville. So there you go. I love you. You might as well use the comments section to blow your own horn. Why not? But let's circle back to this weekend. Again, if you want to go out and try to get your co-ed doubles revenge on Maggie and Wayne, this would be your weekend to do it. But I'm not going to tell you what to do. I'm not going to tell you who to pick. We already got a guy that does that. My man, the Mississippi Ninja, with another episode of Time to Fill.
Welcome to another episode of Time to Fill. We're just back from Owensboro, Kentucky, and now we're headed to Beloit, Wisconsin. Matter of fact, congratulations to the Michigan Wolverines. I know Aaron Canner's happy. They just took down the national championship. So, now, with that being said, let's state my picks this week for Beloit. Loaded women's field again with Tiffany Sparks, Heather Ellis. But I'm going to go with Maggie Geiger to take this down. And then in juniors, I got to go with Carter Guy. In seniors, Bob Howe, who's owned this particular seniors division for the last couple years. Bob Howe to take this down. In co-ed, some really good teams. Heather Ellis and Michael Chitton made a deep run in Owensboro, Kentucky. But I'm going to go with the repeat. 2 weeks in a row. Maggie Geiger and Wayne Rao to take down the co-ed. In doubles, really good doubles team. Drew Waking, Tom Gustafson, T.J. Miller, and Steve Smith is who I'm going to pick this week. So now, on to singles. Man, this singles field is wide open this week. Jack Hargrove, can he make a run? I'm going to go with Tom Gustafson, who just barely got beat out by Braden Eastland to make that Final Four in Owensboro. So let's go with Tom Gustafson. And that's going to be my picks this week for Time to Field. If you think I should pick you, prove me wrong. And A.T. Klinger, I will not forget the meme that you made.
I'll tell you what, he had a rough first couple of days, but he kind of knew what he was talking about. Well, he always does. Phil, I think we had the best time we've had at any major ever, side by side. I think 17 hours. Did I get that right, of streaming? We did 17 hours of streaming over those 3 days, and we had a blast. We saw some great games. We saw some amazing shots. You're going to see the same thing in Beloit. And I tell you, oh, and Clinton says, get your IMF Pro bags at Knoxville. He's using that space for what it's for. Craig Callahar, toot, toot. But, yeah, so the Mississippi Ninja on top of it, as always. And I appreciate him giving up his opportunity to go pitch and warm up for his frame game, to sit there side by side with me and bring you the center court action. We had a blast. And I know the CBC guys, they had some great matches. They ran the junior stuff. And, again, thanks to Bill and Dylan, they knocked it out of the park, as always. And I think they were, because they got in late, they were busting ass to get there after work, and they were happy to kind of pack up and roll. But they did a great job, and we had a lot of fun.
So what did your boy Philip throw in the frame game? Do you know?
Was it a 127? Yeah, I think it was. And we were trying to figure out the cut line. I think I said it was going to be 141. That was insane.
That is insane.
But he called 136, and I think it ended up being 137. So, yeah, you were 138. Oz was 138, Heinerman. So, yeah, but
141's not that far off.
Think about that, though. 137 was the cutoff,
insane.
and there were 3 tied there, so we had to go into the tiebreaker. So somebody ended up getting bounced at a 137. So, but that shows you how competitive it is, and again, for a free entry sort of thing for the pros. And I would tell you, too, if you're a pro and you want to play in the next one in Dalton, Georgia, remember to wear your pro jersey.
You know, one thing I got to say, Finn.
Go
I
ahead.
got something to say here.
Go ahead, hang on.
So here's what I got to say is, in this frame game, I've seen that and heard a lot of pro players, once they hit the mark that they know they've no longer got a chance, that they just tank it, or even a couple have actually even walked away from finishing.
Oh, we had a couple of those.
So I think that we need to work on, and we'll talk to the audience out here, some kind of goose award or some kind of award for the lowest score. So you're forced to want to finish your score.
I wouldn't reward somebody who gives up on anything.
But
ever.
I'm not rewarding them. I'm saying something that we tar and feather that person with the lowest score. That's what I'm trying to say, man.
So you ride them out on a rail like the old political rallies?
No,
I saw a couple of scores and I'm like, that's not cool. But you still got you still, and again, the hardest person to play is yourself. And notice how I worded that, not in such a way that it could be mistaken and clipped later.
But it is tough, man. I mean, these guys have it in their head, and they know what they need to do. And if you're not getting 10s and 12s anymore, especially in a field of 100 pro players, yep. I mean, it's...
Well, and that also answers the question you asked earlier. Do you want to go early, or do you want to sit and wait to see what you're up against?
Right.
I would suggest going early to mid would be best.
That's
because we did see people just say, nah, the hell with it, and walk away.
Yeah.
I don't like that. But I'm a competitive son of a bitch. ACO Europe, it's standing right behind us up here. Manchester, England. The buzz on this just keeps getting bigger and bigger. I mean, have you heard from Daniel? We got guys coming in from Scotland. We got Irish players coming in. Plenty from the UKCL, the United Kingdom Cornhole League, Daniel Lilly and his crew. Way more people than I thought were going to be crossing from here to there, which is cool.
We've got, actually, we already have our first California player signed up. I think we have a Kentucky player signed up. We've got a number of players already starting to sign up from the States. Yeah, and I actually saw production of our boards.
I know, I saw that today. That's killer.
That was pretty
awesome.
awesome.
There are boards being made just for this.
Yeah, that are going to reside now in our European market with our with Daniel Lilly and the team out there. So, dude, it's real. It's happening. This is just the first of many for the future.
Can't wait.
This is exciting stuff.
Can't wait. And again, we're looking forward to anybody that's going to be heading over. Extend it a few days and enjoy the trip. If you're getting or renewing your passport, make it worth the trip. The cornhole is part of this is going to be such a great centerpiece in this crown jewel of what we're going to do, and I cannot wait to see the competition. I know Caleb's going. I wish Isaac was going but he's got other stuff he's got to still stay home and do. But I would love to see the UK player step up against Isaac Hurd and go, come over here, son, let me show you something, and have him go zing, zing, zing. But maybe that doesn't happen. I don't know. But the UKCL, great partners. Can't wait to get over the pond, as they say, to the David Lloyd Manchester North. David Lloyd Manchester North facility is top-notch. Can't wait to get there. Go to AmericanCornhole.com. Find the information not only on the venue, but also on hotels within 1 to 4 miles from there. Take advantage of the tube. Get down in the underground. Learn your way around. The only thing I can tell you emphatically, if you haven't been there before, look left when you're stepping off a curb. They paint it on the road for us. Look left, because just do. That's all I'm saying. AAU, we talked about last week. Very excited about that. Mia was in Owensboro. She's going to be running point, Mia Ray, on the AAU stuff. A great opportunity with, 5 different age groups.
We got
that are going to be playing.
18U, I think it's 16U, 14U, 12U, and 10U.
Yeah.
And you're correct, 5 different age groups. Very economical tournament. These juniors have to be, though, AAU members. That's a really important part of this equation. They do have to be AAU members, which is not very expensive. It's only like a $20 fee per year. And for $50, though, if they are an AAU member, they get their tickets for this 2-day event, and it gives them 14-plus games guaranteed.
Nice. I love that.
So all sorts of stuff, from quads to doubles to singles. It's going to be a fun weekend. Looking forward to it. Really, really, really going to push for the Ohio, Kentucky, Tennessee junior players, people that can travel in with their grandparents or their mom and their dad to compete for a couple days in this. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Well, I'll be honest with you, that's really what it's all about. Bring more people in, let more people get exposure to the game, and take the game out to more people. And so it's awesome. So AAU, which is something I grew up with, but in different sports. Glad to have it as part of the Cornhole universe now. Tommy Morgan says, working on my passport. Hopefully we'll get it in time. My better half renewed her passport, paid the regular fee, didn't expedite it. They said 30 to 60 days. She got it in 10 or 12 days. So I think you're going to make it, buddy. We're looking forward to seeing you. Rocket Cornhole bags will be there in the UK. Looking forward to it. Awesome. Good stuff. Harcrow says, flip it. Instead of starting A to Z names, Pro Series frames, in Dalton, do Z to A. Is that what we did? A to Z? Is that how it went? Is that how it was organized?
No. but we can flip it. We'll flip it again.
Jack, let me ask you something. Have you ever put, let me ask you this comment. Have you ever said, that's great, I love it? Just curious. Anyway, all right, very good. I don't know. So who's gonna beat Isaac? Who? I haven't seen any comments. Just a couple.
Not a comment. Let me see if I got anything.
You had a couple
here
over there on the YouTube channel. I'm monitoring the Facebook page.
We said Gary Bearpaw was the one on the YouTube channel.
And what's interesting is that no one said Caleb. I got to think, if they get down to it at the World Championships,
how cool would that actually
be? That would be. That would be unbelievable.
It would be a long ride home.
Oh yeah,
it would be a long ride home, man.
If Isaac wins, he'll do it in one of his 3 new trucks. I'll tell you that much. It's going to be it's going to be a hell of a World Championships. And you mentioned the AAU stuff. It's a way to extend the World Championships to have more stuff on the front end, more engagement, more opportunities to get out and play. The tailgater zone is going to be set just the way that it was this past year. All of that's going to be going on with bag makers and so on and so forth. We're still working on permission to be able to go back to the VFW hall. I'm hoping they've forgiven us for the last time, but I guarantee you they hit their mark on bar sales. I'll tell you that much, just on him alone on the last day at last call. But it's going to be big fun as everything wraps up for back-to-back at the World Championships in Thronesboro, Kentucky. Some people have said, why don't we just do it here every year? But I know that there's people out on the left coast that would say, let's do it closer out to us. It's any place and every place we can go that's going to be fun and interesting. Owensboro just happens to be sort of an ACO home away from home. So anyway, we'll give you your Taco Tuesday back. There you go. Jack says plenty of times, big boy. I'll look forward to seeing one of those. Anyway, have your Taco Tuesday back. Enjoy the rest of your evening. It's been a lot of fun. What a great super major. We had the best time and it was so great to see all you. And that photo of all the 100+ pros is really impressive. You guys look great. Don't forget, wear that pro jersey for the next pro series, or guess what you're not going to be doing? Throwing in the pro series. So wear that pro jersey. Go get it. You got plenty of time. We'll see you in Dalton, Georgia for that. And between now and then, Beloit, Knoxville, so many more to go. I'm Finn the Loudmouth for the ACO, getting ready to play Pharmaceutical Roulette. Hopefully I get the Ambien. He is Frank Geers, the Cornhole Dude, reminding you.
I think I got to go closer this time around. Keep on pitching.
3D glasses.